Welcome to the Legacy of Love, the return of the Divine Cosmic Mother, and I'm your host, Sherry Lynn. I'm very excited to announce my guest this evening, Sophia Simos, as we talk about sovereignty and softness. Step into the realm of illumination as we embark on an extraordinary journey through the dimensions of consciousness. Sophia is lovingly recognized as the Cosmic Queen of Hearts and is an illuminator in the realm of cosmic heart mastery. With a magical touch, she embarks on a divine mission to empower truth seekers, guiding them through a transformative journey back to the sanctuary of their hearts. As a certified intuitive strategist with the Academy for the Soul, Sophia seamlessly blends the mystical and the practical, drawing on over 12 years of training in ancient and modern energy-based practices. She carries the mantle of a certified Qigong facilitator and energy guide. These profound foundations lay the groundwork for Sophia's unique gift and ability to unlock the heart's mystical and magical powers. As a radiant channel for the angelic and Elohim consciousness, Sophia infuses cosmic wisdom into earthly existence. Welcome, Sophia. I am so excited to have this beautiful, sacred conversation with you tonight.
Thank you, Sherry Lynn. I'm so excited to be here. It's my highest joy, and I so look forward to having a conversation with you today.
I'm excited to see where we go with this. And one of the things that captured my heart right away was sovereignty and softness. And so that's a beautiful title. Can you tell me why you picked that? Let's go a bit more into depth with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my journey entails navigating through the dimensions of consciousness. We progress through adversity in our lives and we kind of go into this divine, deep dive into the depths of the abyss to then rediscover a new path for ourselves where we return back to the core of who we are. We return back to our heart. And this is the coming back into our authentic truth. So when I speak about dimensions of consciousness, we tend to start with the third dimension of consciousness. And this is a state that's founded on the concept of separation. It's an experience we're completely disconnected with ourselves. And we're fragmented from our own truth. So what this looks like, and specifically for me, the third dimension of consciousness was that as a young adult, I was having this successful career in the corporate arena, in sales and marketing role for premium luxury brands. So I was living a very fast-paced life. I was traveling the world, and I was working very long hours. And my ambition at that time was to seek excellence in everything I did, in all facets of my life, not only my career, but all other areas of my life. And I was firmly entrenched in this, achieving this by doing, that of pushing and forcing, controlling, competing. And living in this realm of doing, the harshness of doing, exerts so much effort and energy. And it can only be managed to a certain point. And I reached that point where I was experiencing physical and emotional exhaustion. But Sherry Lynn, I was so disconnected with myself, with my truth, with my body, that I completely ignored the signs. And they were the signs of burnout. But I just kept on pushing, working hard, long hours. And then one day, it was a crucial point in my life, and I was in my early 30s, and I experienced this tremendous, powerful pain that was debilitating. and I was later diagnosed with endometriosis, severe endometriosis, and a large benign tumor the size of an orange in my uterus. And what preceded were many surgeries, a partial resection of my bowel. And it was a really very challenging time for me. And it lasted almost a decade of digestive issues, of adrenal fatigue, and at the time, and then I started infertility, IVF treatments for infertility. So my life at that time revolved around doctors and infertility specialists. I was also exploring fitness regimes and health diets and anything that would improve my health and my well-being, and just bring me back to that vitality and joy that I once felt when I was an adult, young adult, and teenager. But it just didn't, whatever I did, I just still felt depleted. I was always anxious. I was exhausted. I was frustrated. And I felt like I was just in this vicious cycle of just suffering and struggle. And then one day I was distressed due to an unsuccessful IVF round. And I was crying uncontrollably on my way to work, driving. And I heard this angelic voice, and it whispered soft, sweet, loving, reassuring words to me at that time. And I immediately stopped crying. And this simultaneous just compassion and this peace just washed through me. And the moment that followed that experience, I just felt that there was no need to conceive a child. I kind of fully surrendered to it. I let go. I softened. And I felt this sudden wave of this heavy, dense energy just lift from my body. Like a ton of weight just lifted. And I felt this peace and this freedom that I just never had encountered ever before. And that expression, that experience, rather, was for me like a divine intervention. It was that was the point of transitioning, opened the door from the third dimension of consciousness to the fourth dimension of consciousness. And the fourth dimension of consciousness is that of transformation. It's a state of transformation. This is when we are starting to explore health and well-being. We are trying to fix and change, and we start to heal ourselves. So this new pathway just opened, and I started to explore holistic and natural approaches to health and wellness. And it's really interesting, Sherry Lynn. I remember at the time, I kept on asking myself, what is the root cause of this disharmony, this dis-ease within me? And it was really interesting now, reflecting back, how I even thought of that. How I even considered asking those questions. By asking that question, again, these doors opened up for me. And I then I started taking a little bit more ownership, more responsibility for my own well-being. I was starting to become an advocate for me, for my health. So I started to explore energy-based modalities and holistic nutrition. And so I became a certified holistic health coach. I studied Ayurvedic wellness protocols. I was practicing Ashtanga yoga. I was meditating almost daily. I then became drawn to this incredible healing practice called Qigong, which was very, very little known in the West at that time. And very similar to Tai Chi for those who may not be aware of Qigong. And I later became certified to teach Qigong. And this was a revelation for me at that time, because Qigong brought me back into my body. I started to feel not only the qi, which is uh, our life force energy. I was feeling the qi through these powerful yet very gentle movements of qigong. I could feel the qi, the energy within my hands. I could feel it running through the channels, the meridian channels. And it was, again, such a revelation that, what is this unseen presence? What is this? So I recall then deciding that I would, well, let me just find out a little bit more about this energetic presence, because it started to impact me powerfully. It started to go into the core of that disease and the disharmony within. It started to go into the root cause and dissipate that disease and that disharmony, and bring me into another level of peace and harmony and vitality and stillness, softness. So then I started to explore other energetic modalities. It opened up the horizon to energy medicine, learning about the human energy field, the chakras, the energetic bodies, all these unseen parts of ourselves that we don't know of. We never learned about, right? And everything I explored, it was touching on the core issue. It wasn't a band-aid effect. It was always going into the heart of the problem, or the heart of the issue. And this is where I came across also soul integration work, shadow persona integration work, which again, this is working with the reclaiming the fragmented aspects of ourselves, and whereby we're shedding these energetic patterns, paradigms, negative thought forms, destructive emotions. We're going into the heart of those issues and dissipating them, bringing them to resolution and coming back into wholeness. And I remember at the time, I remember my inner, I was starting to open up quite intuitively at that time, beginning to anyhow. And I could see in my inner sight, I could see these like jigsaw puzzles, Sherry Lynn, these pieces of jigsaw just coming together, these light forms of pieces coming together and creating this jigsaw. Whilst I didn't know what this jigsaw looked like, I just felt and could see that there's this completeness, or this unity, or this wholeness that was coming together. And this is essentially what this integration work was doing. And all the work I was doing it was just bringing me back into wholeness. And this is where I started to open up intuitively, open up into the angelic consciousness, firstly. And then I started to channel Elohim consciousness. So the Elohim consciousness came at such a pivotal time for me. They came to be known as the Seven Sisters. They are my divine and cosmic mothers, essentially. The Seven Sisters are for those who don't know the Elohim, there are 7 pairs of Elohim. There's the masculine, the feminine counterparts. So it's the feminine counterparts, the 7 sisters, as they called themselves to me, that came forward at a time to lead me, to take me on this journey so I can return back to my heart. And this is where I transitioned from the fourth dimension of transformation into the fifth dimension of pure love. And that experience for me was that of this great softness. So, you know how I spoke before about doing?
Mm-hmm.
We're pushing, we're forcing, we're controlling, we're striving mindlessly, not consciously. There's this harshness to that. And I remember the words always coming through: soften, just soften. Even just saying the word softness now, soften, I can feel it just wash over me. It's a little bit hard to explain, but it just feels like this tenderness, this
Yes,
kindness.
I
Yeah,
can feel
thank
it.
you.
I can
Oh, so
actually feel it in you, Sophia.
beautiful. Thank you. And this
It
is
is
the transition to being,
mm,
right?
beautiful journey too, right?
Yeah,
From doing
yeah.
to being. There were so many things that you said, and I'm trying to so I'm really sensing what you're saying. And so I'm very drawn to energy work as well. And I do believe that that is one of the most healing modalities that we can begin to use, whichever form that is, in order to um, begin to experience ourselves as energetic beings and then as the soul. And so when you were talking about Qigong, I remember with my experience, my outer world didn't make sense at all. And so I remember this was when my inner eye sight was starting to open too. And it's not my primary channel, but I do get visions in that. And I remember um, I heard and I saw. So what I heard was everything is energy, including the art of chi. But I didn't get it at first because I was lying down and it didn't really dawn on me because a lot of times things will come in as I'm sort of almost sleeping, but not quite there, but probably more in a meditative state. So 3 times, and then third time, the cartoon character Archie from the comic books came on, and that really was enough to rattle me. And it's like, okay, this is a message. And I had a DVD on my stand for the longest time that I would walk by daily, and it was on qigong. So I literally had heard and saw, and it said everything is energy, including the art of chi. And you know, I learned that I think it's in Japan or China. Well, I think it's Japan. Before you have a surgery, you have to do qigong before they will even operate on you.
Wow. Wouldn't that be wonderful in the Western world?
It would, because a lot of times I think what happens is the person change your diet. I think it was change your diet and do qigong, because I do believe a lot of people do not
Mm,
need the treatment or the procedure once they start moving the energy, the chi, the life
mm.
force.
And it's interesting how, when you say that, how Qi Gong is just such a, as you know, a very
Mhm.
simple practice. And it's just a, very graceful, very
It is.
flowing. But how powerful is it?
Mhm.
How profoundly powerful it is that it can actually it can change or transform your entire being.
Totally. And I do believe, I don't know if you did Reiki or not, but I do believe that was even an opening. And I feel like it's an opening for so many people is I don't, there's something about it, and it sort of starts to change, shift your consciousness.
Mm,
And then to experience the energy when all of a sudden you can feel it
mm.
in your hands and your feet, and your heart feels like, it's incredible. It's an incredible feeling of connection.
And I feel that I recall when I was in the third dimension of consciousness, that of separation, I couldn't feel.
Exactly.
I didn't feel.
And see,
So,
it brings up emotion even in you now. And that is our problem, is that
mm,
we're all longing for connection, but most of us go looking for connection outside of ourselves. And so as we shift into higher states of consciousness and begin to remember, we understand the connection we're longing for is actually with the Creator and with ourselves, our own inner self, our authentic self. And so you were describing your journey from separation and identifying you as the professional person who had the so-called perfect job. And,
mm,
you could really like, it was almost, I mean, that's how you attached your identity. And yet there was
yes,
something in you that was becoming burnt out and knew that that wasn't who you were. And so you were on this journey.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because at the time, I didn't know that I was disconnected from myself and my truth.
Hmm.
And if anyone is listening to this conversation, uh, it's so important that they just realize that there are, yes, indeed, looking back, I didn't know I was living in the third dimension of consciousness. I didn't know I was living in the fourth dimension of consciousness. I wasn't aware of that.
Right.
But it's just important to feel where you are in your life. If you are experiencing feeling anxiety, if you're feeling anger, if you're feeling sadness, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. That's something that you're feeling and it's coming up to the surface for you to be aware of. Um, and that tends to happen when you're not aligned. You're not aligned with your heart. You're not aligned with your truth.
Hmm.
And when you are heart aligned, then you feel different. You feel a softening. You feel kindness. You feel compassion for another. The self-judgment, it transcends self-judgment. It transcends judgment of others or judgment of situations. So it's really important, as you said, connection. But
Yes.
firstly, with yourself first.
Hmm. Somebody said, and I know his name and it's not coming to me right now, and I wish I could say it so that I could credit him. But I remember hearing him say this, that the Divine Mother is actually has never separated from us and is with us always. And if we become aware, she can travel up, so the Shakti energy that travels up, Divine Mother, through our different states of consciousness, being our chakras,
Mm-hmm.
guiding us through those lessons. Each one sort of contains where our karma is, where our ancestral wounds are, where the implants, the imprints, and everything that we're going through. So when we become aware that within our field, within our aura, we're literally drawing in these experiences based on what's there. So as we become aware, we're energy beings and we connect with, whether it's the Divine Mother, whether it's, Source Creator or whoever, just becoming aware. There is something like in a 12-step program, they don't do it themselves. They go to higher power.
Yeah.
So that
Yes.
sort of is where we begin to surrender to this need to absolutely control and know what the next, because the truth is we can't, no
Mm.
matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's the softness.
Mm. Oh, I think that's a beautiful story, actually. I really loved how you spoke about that Shakti just moving through the dimensions and the dimensions that being of your chakras. I think that's so powerful. Um, and such another realm for so many people that are not aware that they are energetic beings, as you mentioned. We
Mm-hmm.
don't see ourselves as energetic beings, particularly when you're in the third dimension of consciousness. And
Mm-hmm.
also in the fourth dimension of consciousness, you still seek to find health, abundance, freedom, expression, love outside of you.
But at
But
least you,
all the while, it's within.
right.
Sorry, go ahead,
No,
Sherilyn.
no, I'm sorry, but I was going to say that at least in the when see, and I don't really get caught up on the defining the levels of consciousness, but more am I in flow? Am I feeling connected? Am I feeling expanded? Am I feeling like yes to life? Or am I feeling like I can barely breathe? I'm anxious, I'm nervous, and then I've separated from my true self. And I think it's Gabor Mate who says the moment that trauma is separation from our true, authentic self.
Mm,
And it's true
yeah.
because we know it as soul.
Mm.
So we are our own GPS,
Oh, yes, indeed. I love that.
you know? So, Hanneke, let's go to the Divine Mother now because I know that she means so much to you. You have this beautiful connection. And, through, you were saying, through your relationship to the Elohim, the seven sisters, is that what you said? Can you tell
Correct.
me a little bit
Yes.
more about that?
Mm. The seven sisters, as I mentioned, are they are the Elohim consciousness. The Elohim are emanations of God's source consciousness.
Mm.
So essentially, they are also related and associated with the rays of God. Now, are you familiar with the rays of God
Uh, I'm familiar
or
with the
rays of
rays.
creation? Mm,
Yes, yes.
yes, beautiful. Yeah. So we have the rays of God. They can also be referred to as the rays of creation. And each of these rays is identified by its color, by its cosmic color, by its frequency, its uh, its vibrancy, its vibration, its archetypal quality. Essentially, it's an archetype, and each ray has its own archetypal expression and essence. And the work I do is working with these beautiful rays of creation because they are emanations of God consciousness. But the beauty about these rays of creation, which I didn't know at the time, was that the Elohim are associated with each of the rays. So, for instance, the first ray of creation, which is the blue ray of divine will and power and strength and faith, is associated with the first pair, Elohim pair, that is Elohim Amazonia and Elohim um, Hercules. And they oversee this beautiful blue ray with such divine qualities, archetypal qualities of that of the leadership, of that of innovation, of that of the pioneer, of that of the manager. So we have these archetypal expressions known to us as the rays of creation, and each ray is overlighted by the Elohim.
Mm. Beautiful.
And yes, indeed. And each of these rays also has this masculine vibration and also has a feminine vibration. Now, whilst there's never duality, there's always feminine and masculine, always in balance. But there's sometimes some of these rays do actually have a little bit more of a masculine vibration or a feminine vibration. So essentially, not only am I experiencing my my daily existence with having the seven sisters, these feminine emanations of God consciousness, as my spiritual advisors, I'm also working with the other rays of all the other rays of creation and all the divine mothers, because within each ray they're also overlighted by the archangels, the feminine and the masculine counterpart. They're also overlighted by ascended masters or koans or lords, as they call them, koans, that are also masculine or feminine vibration. So the feminine aspect, whilst there is this powerful presence, particularly as I journeyed through into the fifth dimension to really open my heart, this is where the divine mothers really step forward for me to support me in to return to my heart, to continue to come back into my heart and to soften and to embrace, not only embrace, but start to expand into those divine mother qualities of that kindness and the gentleness and the compassion. It's so fascinating because my journey was that of many feminine issues. I had feminine reproductive issues, infertility, as we call it, as we label it here. And now I see that these experiences were not only returning me back to my heart, but I was returning back into my becoming fertile again. It's just come to me, just becoming fertile again. And what does fertility look like? It looks like creation, creativity, expansion, expression, freedom, abundance, prosperity, bountifulness.
So beautiful.
Yeah, so that's how I associate the divine mother within me, through those expressions of knowing that I am my own creation. There's nothing outside of me. It's all here.
That's so beautiful, Sophia. Thank you for that. Because that is what the journey that we're all, each one of us is taking. And some are not yet aware, but that's okay too, because the more of us that become aware, the easier it is going to be for everybody to shift into that remembrance. And these beautiful, like a lot of people, when they're first beginning this journey, you associate masculine and feminine with male and female. And it has nothing to do with that. It's balancing our energies so that we can be in union with both and sort of in union with our divinity.
Indeed.
So I love that we have this sacred language between us, which is energy, right?
Yes.
And there are many, many ways, many different paths that people can take to begin to experience themselves as that. But really, it starts with our intention. And at intention and attention, where am I putting my attention? What is my intention? And continue to do that. So, Sophia, you and I were talking earlier, and you do have an experiential practice that you could maybe take us through. Would this be a really good time to do that?
That would be beautiful, actually. I would love to. And we did feel into this. We thought, well, let's just see when would be the opportune time, and if it was something that the audience would be wanting to experience.
I think they will.
I would love to share this. It is called the Lullaby of Love.
How beautiful.
And we're going to work with the rays of creation, but specifically we're going to be working with the pink ray. And the pink ray is that overlights the heart chakra. And my work is based on the pink heart chakra, and we'll be speaking about that later. And I'll be inviting Elohim, Sister Amora, to wash wash each of our hearts with this beautiful pink flame, which is, as I mentioned, so soft and so gentle and so kind. And I think that's why I called it the lullaby of love, because it is that of the purest and unwavering love that a divine mother embodies. That's who she is, and that's who we are. So I'd like to bring forward this lullaby of love and imbue it into everybody's heart. Awesome. Well, what I'll do, I would love to have everybody just take a moment somewhere that's perhaps uninterrupted. Sitting down would be ideal. We are working with a high frequency here, so it's really best not to be operating a heavy vehicle or any type of vehicle. So take a moment to stop what you're doing, and I invite you to just close your eyes and come back and just imagine your thoughts now. Just imagine your thoughts, your mind, and just see this beautiful sparkly energy, like a rainfall. Yeah, just flow from your mind down into your throat and down into your heart. See this beautiful sparkly white energy flowing graciously, gently, beautifully. Into your heart. And, I'd like you to inhale deeply and exhale deeply. Inhale deeply and exhale deeply. Now, what I'd love to do is I'm going to invoke the sacred winds for from the seven galactic directions. So I'm going to invite from the east the house of night. I'm going to invite the winds from the north, the house of night. And from the west, the house of transformation. From the south, the house of the eternal sun. From above, the house of heaven. From below, the house of earth. And from the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once. I call upon these winds to create this sacred whirlpool. These seven directions come together and they assemble into this crystalline whirlpool, spinning counterclockwise at God's speed within the center point of our hearts. And as they are turning with God's speed, they are courageously dissolving and clearing and purifying our heart. I'd like to now ask these winds to expand. This whirlpool gets bigger and it moves outside of the heart, expanding into our physical body. Enveloping our entire physical body and now moving out into our aura. Clearing, cleansing, releasing, surrendering to all that is density. Bringing our entire aura into the highest integrity. I'm just going to ask this whirlpool to stay operational outside of our aura for the duration of this meditation, this visualization, this experience. Just continuing to illuminate and purify and harmonize our being. I just come now to place your awareness back to your heart. I'd like you to imagine that you're a tiny person and you're standing in the front of your heart. And your heart resembles this magnificent pink, fully bloomed rose. And in the center point of this rose is this golden doorway, portal. And this portal is going to take us into our sacred heart. And I'd like you to now start walking towards this portal, this golden portal. And as you're walking through this portal, you're noticing the threshold, the opening into your sacred heart. And as you enter this threshold, walk upon this threshold, you're now walking into the sacred heart, and it's this expansiveness. It's like you're in a cosmic sea of beautiful nebula, multicolored nebula. It's extraordinary, so expansive, so beautiful, so brilliant. If you look at your feet below, you notice that there's this long carpet, this velvet carpet. I'd like you to start walking upon this velvet carpet. It's so soft to your feet, so luxurious. This long velvet carpet is actually suspended in the center of your sacred heart, surrounded by this cosmic sea and nebula. And as you're walking, proceeding to walk on this beautiful velvet carpet, you notice that there's this exquisite golden cushion before you that's also levitating. I'd like you to take a seat upon your cushion. Take a moment there to connect with this luxuriousness. You're so safe. You feel so supported. And you feel so loved. As you inhale and you exhale, aligning your breath to the pulse and the rhythm of your heart. And the heartbeat of the universe. And with unbounded joy, I invite your guardian angels and your higher selves to merge with you now and join you now in this beautiful space. Welcoming the seven sisters of Elohim consciousness, the seven cosmic emanations of God to rest in our presence. And they graciously respond to this invitation, and they descend from the etheric retreats across the world, and they appear in a circular formation just above our crown, in all their color and all their splendor. I summon Elohim Amora of the pink ray to step forward now. And joining Amora is her masculine counterpart Heros and the legions of the Elohim angels, the pink ray angels, and thousands upon thousands of angels piercing us with the vibration of the pink ray, and that is of divine universal love. And beloved Sister Amora, encompass our hearts with the pink flame of love to saturate the core of our hearts and diminish all disharmony, all residue that is not in alignment with our truth and our authenticity. Ooh. These pink rays of this divine softness, it's nourishing and nurturing our hearts. I see this veiling of our collective hearts, a veiling that masks the beauty and the power and the wisdom of our heart. And allow this lullaby of love to wash over this discord, this veiling, this masking. This residue, this veiling is that of very much a protective mechanism, trying to keep our hearts safe and protected. But as it's doing that, it's actually masking it from its truth and its brilliance. This pink flame now is just diluting and dissolving this mechanism that's suffocating our heart. So we can come back into the full alignment of our authenticity. And this pink flame is continuing to unbound, unhurt our hearts. And guided by the power of the pink ray of love, we imbue the qualities of tolerance, compassion, kindness, empathy, gratitude, joy, It's very liberating, allowing this pink ray to transform our hearts. So your truth can be renewed. And allow your love to set you free. I'm going to summon this pink ray to penetrate into each cell of our body, overflowing with this beautiful pink ray out into all of our energetic bodies, and traveling into our past timeline, genealogical timelines, across all time dimensions, spaces, and realities, wherever our soul is, allowing this pink ray to soften, liberate. That which is not aligned with the fifth dimensional pure love that we are. And allow this pink ray now to dissolve and dismantle all constructs, creating new neurological pathways, forming new timelines, new potentialities and new possibilities, stepping into future timelines of pure love. And the pink ray now just expands out into our aura, bringing it back into harmony now, recalibrating it, restoring. As we now abide in the aura of pink universal love. I'd like you to now just come back to the present moment. Come back into awareness and feel the sensations, any vibrations or pulsations. I just feel so much peace, tranquility, serenity. And may you abide in this aura now in the days to come. Call forward the pink ray of love to support you to return back to pure love. And I'd like to extend my highest reverence and love to the Elohim seven sisters, particularly Amora, Eros, all the angels, your higher selves, your guardian angels, and your beloved hearts. And only when you're ready, you may wish to open your eyes.
That was beautiful. It's kind of hard to come out of that and be present with you right now. My eyes don't want to open. But you know what?
Yes.
Sophia, this is what we need to do though, to experience these shifts in understanding. It's more than a word. Softness
Yes.
is more than a word. Beauty is more than a word. Our essence is more than a word. Radiance, all of these things, purity. And we can only do that when we allow ourselves to sit and to stay and to soften.
I love
Thank
that.
you for allowing, at least myself, opportunity to drop into this beautiful healing meditation. It's funny that you're talking about the pink ray. I'm holding my pink crystal. I'm very drawn. Is the pink ray the same as the one with Lady Nada and Jesus in the Magdalene?
Mm.
Is it the same? Do you know?
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I
Okay.
must be still in another
It
world.
might it might be me too. Is the pink ray the same ray as Lady Nada and Jesus, Joshua, and the Magdalene? Do you know? You might not know because you read the
That
thing.
well, the ray that they are overlight. Not saying that don't overlight other rays. They may do, um, but that is the ray of the ruby golden ray. The
Okay.
ruby golden ray is that of divine peace.
That makes sense.
Um, yeah, divine peace.
I remember when I was in my my marriage, before we went through our divorce, I remember thinking, all I want is peace.
Mm. Oh,
And
beautiful.
in the Gene Keys,
Mm.
my city is silence. And I remember thinking, silence? That's like a city? But then when I read about it, that's in order for me to tap into the energy of source. To
Mm.
be in silence, I can do that. And so peace and silence, I see how we're led. So where we're in disharmony, and it's the opposite. If my life was chaotic and on eggshells and
Mm.
I just longed for peace and harmony and balance, I was so far away from it, and I was being guided to go towards that.
Mm. That's beautiful. And essentially, you're progressing into a peace is a state of consciousness.
Yes, yes. That's what I'm trying to say, though, is that if we just understood it's more than a word.
Mm. Exactly.
So I feel like this is a beautiful time now to talk about your offer, too, as we now
Mm.
got to experience a little bit of Sophia.
Yes, indeed. I would love to share very quickly that my offer was a creation, was a channeled experience that I experienced over a number of meditations where the ascended masters, the divine mothers, um, the angels, the Elohim came together and were leading me upon this path. And it started with a meditation with Mother Mary, where she and Master Jesus were leading me upon this path, and it was lined with these pink roses. And there were other roses, but at the time I could only see the path lined with pink roses. And it was as if these roses were speaking to me as I was walking upon this beautiful path lined with these fully bloomed roses. And I came to call this experience the Petals of Perfection path. And the first phase or the first stage of the Petals of Perfection path were founded upon the pink heart chakra. And then there's another stage and another stage, which takes us deeper into the second heart chakra and then the third heart chakra. And yes, we do have 3 heart chakras. And this is all shown to me. And now revealing this to those hearts, that those seekers of truth that want to return back to their heart. It's a journey that traverses the pink heart chakra. The symbology and the sacred geometry of the pink heart chakra is extremely profound, and there's some hidden secrets and treasures that I'm bringing forward. Essentially, the mandala of the pink heart chakra has 12 petals. Now, I've come to know each of these 12 petals as one of the rays of creation, an archetypal quality. And I call each of the petals these archetypal qualities, the cosmic deity, because they're emanations of God consciousness, the cosmic emanations of God consciousness. And they have each their own vibration, their own archetypal quality. So if this program I've put together is based on the pink heart chakra, it's called the Pink Bloom Initiation. And what I'm doing is I'm welcoming those who wish to open and expand their hearts to come with me on this journey. And the journey is for 12 weeks. We unfurl a petal every week. And once we unfurl one of these petals, what we are doing is we're expanding and opening into the highest expression of this petal. There's higher expressions, there's also lower expressions. And again, they're just states of consciousness, right? What I'm wishing to put forward is that we're moving into the highest expression, that of the purest love, coming back into the 5th dimension. It's a journey, a sequential journey of unfurling each of the petals each time, unveiling the cosmic deities of each of these petals, these highest expressions, because they are within us. They just need to be invoked. They need to be allured. It's very sacred. It's very mystical. For those who like magic and mystery and mysticism, then this is definitely a journey for you. So I believe I've offered 3 items and 3 items within this experience of expansion and opening of the beautiful pink heart chakra. And one of those is basically the one-on-one experience. And I'll just quickly bring this up as well. It's called the Pink Bloom Initiation. The item 1 is the Pink Bloom Brilliance Session, and that's one-on-one. It's a one-on-one coaching service, and that operates for 75 minutes. It's via Zoom, and it is recorded. And what we do here, we specifically target and eradicate any doing. Where are you controlling, pushing, forcing, efforting? Where is there harshness, mindlessness in your creation? Where are you manifesting from? And what we do, we explore, what comes up for me will be which petal, which cosmic deity is unfurling and coming up for that particular individual to start expressing and working with this cosmic deity. Not only are you working with the highest expressions or starting to embody the highest expression of that deity, but you also are working, co-creating with what I call the cosmic colors of love collective. the high benevolent beings, the Elohim, the archangels, the Cohen's lords, the crystal kingdom of each of the petals. So each week, you're going to be essentially in the company of heaven, guiding you. Particularly with the one-on-one, you will be guided, overlighted by this particular collective, and start to express the highest qualities, not the lowest expressions of this particular petal and cosmic deity. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense to
Okay.
me. Sounds beautiful.
So it's very targeted. It's really focusing on eradicating anything that is masking your your authenticity. So anything that's inauthentic will be dissolved and removed, whether that's generational, particularly if anyone that's experienced a lot of childhood trauma. It will support you move from that self-abandonment, self-neglect,
Right.
and disconnection, and bring you into a higher vibration, high frequency, and embodying the cosmic deity that's coming forward to support you on your journey and your ascension into the fifth dimension and beyond. So that is a one-on-one experience. Then we move into the item 2, which is the pink bloom initiation, and this is the releasing the inauthentic residue. So this is the 12 transmissions, high vibrational transmissions. They are 60 minutes. They are group live calls via Zoom, and they are recorded as well. So again, what we're doing is in this case, we're opening up each of the petals, invoking each of the cosmic deities, the highest expression of them each week, until we open up and unfurl all of the petals of the pink heart chakra. So essentially, if you are experiencing a lot of disharmony in your life, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, going to bring that back into harmony, bring it back into balance, clearing and dissolving any residue where there's inauthenticity within, whether that's generational, whether it's from your maternal lineage or your paternal lineage, or even if it is past life as well. So we go really deep, very deep into our multidimensional being as we are, and clear out everything that needs to be cleared in order to pave the wave.
Right.
Go ahead.
And Sophia, I don't really mean to interrupt you, but I just want to highlight how important that is, though, because so many of us are not even aware of what our patterns and what's so unconscious to us. And so somebody listening to you might not even recognize there's aspects within themselves that need healing until they're in session with you, or something comes up, because a lot of this stuff is so unconscious to us, and we just see it when we get triggered by circumstances in life. And so what you're talking about is, some people might not even relate. They might think, well, I don't need that. I'm not working on that. And only to discover that they are.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And you're right, a lot of it is unconscious. And if it is unconscious, it's always going back to how you feel. What are your experiences in your reality? What do your relationships look like? Are they disharmonious? Is there conflict there? Are you getting triggered? And how does that make you feel when you get triggered?
Right. You know, I have a really interesting story to share really quick for people because this is
Yeah,
how unconscious it
absolutely.
might be. It's in regards to myself. And my dad, bless his heart, was somebody who did not believe in anger at all. Like there was just, it was not something that was acceptable in our family. And he would never let us go to bed mad, which was really good. But there was an
Mm,
experience in my life when I was young and my sister was hit by a car and she was like only 5, was when she was hit, she had to stay in the hospital all summer long, so about 6 weeks. Kids at the time weren't allowed to go to the hospital, so there was trauma for me because immediately when we drove home, my mom and I, there was a driveway filled with women who held me back, and my mom flew off to the hospital, like drove off to the hospital. Well, so part of my energy left me, and I opened myself up to like a opening, giant opening that I now understand. But more than that, I felt abandoned by my family, and I became angry. But because my dad did not believe in anger, I stuffed it. So when I was taking some energy work with Deborah King, she said she sees rage in me. And I'm like, rage? Like, what are you talking about? Because, but here's the interesting thing. I married, he's now an ex-husband, but I was
mm,
in a very verbally, emotionally abusive relationship for years. So I attracted anger to me because I didn't deal with my anger. I pushed it down.
mm.
And it didn't make sense to me when she said that. It's like, what do you mean rage? It's like, no, you don't know me. Rage.
Yeah,
But it makes sense. It wasn't safe. So even some people just might not even know, period. It just might be so unconscious.
yeah, and isn't it amazing how you attracted that into your life?
I sure did.
That that ex-husband was mirroring exactly what was coming, was mirroring you
Right,
essentially.
exactly. And I would have never got it then because, see,
No,
as you're
of
talking about
course not.
different stages of consciousness and that, I wouldn't have known. I was the victim then. I was like, how could he do that? I didn't understand. I now understand. And so,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's so fascinating because I had a father who did not believe in anger, but I was angry as a child because I felt abandoned by my family and rejected by my family. So I would drag a garbage bag filled with clothes and run away from home over and over and over again as a 8 year
Mm.
old to who knows what age I finally stopped at.
Well, we carry a lot of this childhood trauma with us, and we don't know about it. As you said, it's very unconscious.
Hmm.
I love this program because every petal, being that multifaceted part of you, what we're doing as well, which is quite like going diving deep into the abyss of this petal, the consciousness of this petal, is that we're revealing the child, the inner child within, the inner child that we blocked out, we suppressed, we abandoned for so many years. We're
Hmm.
now coming back to that inner child, and we're going to bring to the surface those, that anger,
Hmm.
that guilt, the shame.
Hmm.
And we're going to bring that up, reveal it, embody the divine mother within us to bring it into balance, harmony,
Yeah.
love, treat it with the highest love, acceptance. So that is actually part of the process, is those who wish to come on this journey are going to experience what it is to reparent
Hmm.
themselves.
Which is so beautiful because ultimately
Mm.
that child will turn into the divine child. And that is where we come
Yes.
into union with our holy, sacred, sovereign self, our divinity.
Yeah. I love that. That's so beautiful. Absolutely. So it is a repatterning, a reparenting, a repatterning, and a reintegrating and integrating of that
Mhm,
aspect, coming back into our hearts again, coming back into wholeness.
mhm. So beautiful. I'm sorry I stopped you, but it's so important because I know that we don't know. I talk to people all the time that don't even know. And then it's all of a sudden something's brought up and it's like, oh, yeah, I do have that sadness in me. I didn't know I did, but I do.
Yeah.
And we have to bring,
I absolutely. Sorry to interject you
oh,
there,
no, it's
Shirley.
okay.
But I did have a client that didn't see it in herself, but a lot of her friends used to say, "Oh, you've got a closed heart. You're so,
Mhm,
you just always got a closed heart."
mhm,
And she didn't really understand what they meant. Like, why is it that she wasn't feeling it? She didn't know what they were talking about. I mean, okay, she, she, um, she was validating that, oh, yeah, okay, I don't have a man in my life. That's probably what they mean by it, or what
mhm.
have you. Essentially, the long story is here is that it's so important that we connect again to that inner child, the one that we have neglected and the one that we have abandoned, because we're only abandoning and neglecting ourselves and our highest truth.
Absolutely.
And this
I,
journey brings you back to feeling, coming back in the feeling and knowing, well, why is it that I am? It starts to uncover, why have I got a closed heart?
I can feel your love, Sophia. So whoever takes
Mm,
this journey with you is going to just, there's going to be so much transformation in it. And it's 12 weeks. So it's not, it's, it's a real transformational journey. It's beautiful. So did you cover everything? I feel like there was a third part that you didn't
one.
get to yet. Yeah.
And the last one is the I guess the crescendo. It all comes together. And that is the pink bloom coronation. I've called it this because this is when we imprint the impeccable beauty of each of those cosmic deities, their highest expressions. So it's 1 hour Zoom call, live Zoom call, of course, and recorded. And this is where I lead everybody on the journey to unfurl each of the petals of the pink heart chakra so it can expand into its brilliance
Mm,
and its beauty. So,
mhm.
which is what you are, it's your
Yes.
truth. And there's
And
a real beautiful unity with that, a completion, a wholeness that occurs in the unveiling
mm,
of your true essence and authenticity.
when your heart is open, you can feel it in people. I can feel your heart is open. There's no closed heart in you. It's so open, it's so loving, so accepting, and it's just like, I want some of that.
Yeah,
So beautiful. And this is how
thank you.
humanity heals. When we heal ourselves, we are healing so many people that we aren't even aware of just by our own healing. So it's
Well,
beautiful.
that is our light, isn't it? It's the light of who we are.
Mhm.
And we talked about this, the light being our legacy.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
And that's
So
that's beautiful.
exactly. So
Thank you,
let me
Sherry
reframe that
Lynn.
for you so you can
Yes.
really plant that seed for people. What is your
Mm,
legacy? What would you like your legacy to be,
mm,
Sophia?
yes, indeed. And we are infinite beings. We come to this earth conditioned, um, given labels of sister and wife and
Mhm.
mother and colleague and manager and so forth. But truly, who are we? And you come to explore that on a journey with me. It is a journey that is, and I would like to preface this that it's a, it is a softness into being. It is soft. It is gentle. It's loving. And Don't underestimate softness and kindness and gentleness. It is very, very powerful and very profound. And I wouldn't have had the sheer joy of expanding and opening and allowing the Elohim consciousness, these beautiful seven sisters, to come forward, if it wasn't that of my highest good. But also it just goes to show how strong and powerful it is to be soft.
So beautiful.
Yeah. People underestimate it so much, but truly it is a powerful consciousness to be in. And this is where we manifest our lives, through this softness.
And I can see that it's powerful in you too. So even though it's soft and peaceful and beautiful and kind and loving, and there is so much power. So Sophia, I thank you so much for this beautiful sacred conversation with you. And it's just been so uplifting, and I just could feel so much from you. You radiate this beauty, this peace, this harmony for all of us. Is there any final words that you would like to share with the viewers before we end this sacred conversation?
I think I ended up with the importance of not underestimating softness, and this is a journey of softness, an ascension into your, I do speak about the dimensions, about moving into the fifth dimension of pure love. But if we just focus on, as you mentioned too, which I thought was absolutely profound, is that it's not just a word. It is a consciousness. It is a state of it. It's an experience, and it's a choice. You can either choose to be in the doing mode, being in doing disharmony, as I term it, or you can choose to be in being harmony. And this is where your radiance, and this is where you manifest serendipity, creation. Everything flows to you. You don't need to seek it outside of yourself. It's not external any longer in this reality when you're back in your heart and you're working with that consciousness of love, of softness. Because it's all here. You're here. It's all you. And it's the most radical, for me, this experience has been the most radical sense of self-love and self-worth. If you've struggled or you found it very hard to find how to love yourself, this is the perfect journey for one.
We can feel your light. We can feel your love. So thank you so much from my heart to yours. I send you.
Thank you. And I just want to express my gratitude for your softness. Got this beautiful voice, so expressive, so expansive, so loving and nurturing and kind. And I thank you so much for your insights.
It was a beautiful conversation.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your wisdom. Thank you.
And it's the same. The feeling is mutual, and I'm sure this conversation will be continued again at some point. And until then, I send you love, peace, and blessings, and I send everybody love, peace, and blessings. And I thank you for sharing, holding space for us while we had this beautiful, sacred conversation. Much love.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network. your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in Unity Consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.